I just felt at home just because I'm on the path of riding my destiny. And when you're really close to God and on the path of your destiny, you just feel everything so much more, and you just know what's going to happen ahead of time.
Mike Tyson just absolutely humiliated Jake Paul after the post-fight conference. And let's be real, it wasn't even close. In all his infinite wisdom and boxing expertise, Jake Paul decided to run his mouth and claimed that Mike Tyson needed the money. Oh sure, because the guy who built a multi-million-dollar cannabis empire is totally desperate for a paycheck from a YouTube prankster. Brilliant deduction.
I'd just be real bummed out to see Mike get KO'd.
Right.
58 years old.
60. Like, what other sport are we where we let a 58-year-old man compete other than golf?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, why are we letting this happen?
It's kind of crazy.
And let's not forget the real question here. What on earth made a 58-year-old man whose body has more miles on it than a used car think, yep, let's step into the ring with a dude who thinks a right hook is a viral TikTok trend? Seriously, this whole thing is like watching a train wreck in slow motion, but somehow everyone still can't look away. Where do we even begin with the masterpiece that was Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul? Yeah, that's totally normal, right? The worst part, it actually worked. We watched it, we talked about it, we tweeted about it, and we even paid for it. Welcome to the circus, folks.
Mike Tyson is getting back in the ring. He's 58 years old. He's facing off against YouTuber turned boxer, 27-year-old Jake.
Now Tyson, despite dealing with serious health issues earlier in the year, decided to say yes for a fight. Maybe he thought it would be an easy payday knocking out a kid who's famous for doing dumb stuff on YouTube.
We want to, but our opponents don't actually. It's fun.
Jake Paul, who somehow convinced a massive online audience that he was a legitimate boxer, got into the ring looking like he was auditioning for a role in the real Fight Club. And here's where it gets really good. As the fight neared, fans started to ask the question. No one had the guts to voice out loud, is this going to be an actual boxing match? Or is it a glorified pay-per-view comedy special with a few extra bruises thrown in for good measure? There was no way this was a genuine contest.
X has spoken. The fight was scripted. Everyone is talking about this on X, and the script is actually leaked on X a few years ago.
Then just when you thought the absurdity couldn't get any better, here comes the infamous fight script. This was a detailed round-by-round breakdown of how the whole spectacle was supposed to unfold.
Opening bell rings, Tyson is showing flashes of his old form, which actually happened. As soon as the bell went, Mike Tyson came out with that head movement, pushing forward. Immediately he stalks forward with his signature bob and weave.
Tyson, the ever-predictable pro, starts strong with his classic bob and weave. Jake, of course, plays the underdog who somehow keeps on going, looking like the hero of a sports movie. And then just when you think it can't get any more predictable, round 5 comes and Tyson gets knocked down by a perfectly timed right hook. That's exactly what the script...
How accurate it was. Opening bell rings, Tyson is showing flashes of his old...
And shockingly, the fight played out exactly like the leaked script. Tyson, looking slower than a dial-up connection, got cut above the eye. Jake's punches. By the end of it, fans weren't sure if they just watched a fight or paid for a high-budget WWE episode with better lighting and a slightly more believable backstory. Seriously, it felt like they accidentally left a bunch of pro wrestling writers in charge of a real fight, and somehow that turned out to be the most real thing about it. And what did Tyson do? Nothing at first. No fiery rebuttal, no public meltdowns. He stayed suspiciously quiet, almost like he was waiting for the dust to settle or figuring out who let the cat out of the bag.
The number line? Are we talking 60, 70 million?
I mean, if I were to cash out, yeah, I probably made like an extra 60 on top of that just from my investments last year, if I were to liquidate it.
Jake Paul's post-fight antics weren't just over the top, they were a masterclass in how to self-destruct. While holding a megaphone after his controversial victory over Mike Tyson on November 15, 2024, Paul hopped on his podcast, casually tossing out bombshells like they were sponsored ads.
I tried to give the fight the best fight I possibly could, but when someone's just surviving in the ring, basically, it's hard to make it exciting.
His most outrageous claim that he eased off during the fight because he didn't want to hurt Tyson, right? A YouTuber turned boxer who spent his entire career chasing knockouts suddenly decided to play nice. What's next? Claiming he let Tyson punch in to keep things interesting.
They got paid so much money for that.
25 million and 40 million?
I think 20 and 40. Yeah, I think that's what I heard. You know, which I'm happy Mike got the money.
Paul didn't stop there. He took things further by implying that Tyson needed the fight for money. That's rich coming from a guy who built his fortune on viral pranks, on boxing gimmicks. The backlash was immediate and vicious.
Mike Tyson, who's a multi-millionaire, who doesn't need any money right now whatsoever.
Social media exploded with boxing legends and fans calling out Paul's blatant disrespect. They weren't just mad at his words, they were furious at how effortlessly he tried to rewrite reality. His reckless mouth didn't just spark outrage, it reignited conspiracy theories that the fight was scripted. His comments fueled speculation that the match was less about competition and more about creating a blockbuster storyline. Paul's non-stop bragging made it hard for anyone to take the fight seriously.
For a lot of us that love Mike, and despite what he said in that interview with the girl about the legacy, we love him and his legacy.
If Jake Paul thought he could keep running his mouth without consequences, he was dead wrong. After weeks of staying silent, Mike Tyson finally snapped, and his response hit harder than any punch thrown in the ring.
Started to Thank you. I started Jake Paul.
Tyson wasn't done after hearing weeks of reading accusations and watching that ridiculous fight script spread like wildfire. He finally snapped verbally, at least in an interview with Fox Sports Radio. Tyson dismissed the rigging rumors with a kind of intensity that could still make opponents flinch. It was a real fight, he practically growled, daring anyone to question whether getting punched 78 times was part of some elaborate scheme.
I don't look at my life as a legacy. Legacy to me means ego. Who the f*** is about my legacy? I'm gonna be dead soon one day.
And Tyson wasn't just mad about the punches, he was furious about what the rumors did to his legacy. For a man who's built a career on being one of the most feared fighters in history, being reduced to a character in a made-for-TV boxing drama was beyond insulting. His legacy now came with an asterisk, thanks to Jake Paul's endless need for attention and an alleged fight script that read like a rejected Rocky.
This fight is not gonna change my lifestyle, boy. I'm a fighter. I feel good. I can do it. I feel like I can beat